Om Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhisam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapada Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuddhapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhanvitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabhandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hariti Panchakalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pang Vidam Pete Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurun Janata. So welcome to all the devotees to our Bhakti Shastri class. We are still in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Vibhuti Yoga, the opulence of the Lord. So in our previous class, we stopped in text number 7, where actually in the beginning of the chapter, Krishna explained about his Vibhuti, his opulence. And Krishna is the source of all qualities and also of all personalities. So now we will discuss about the Chatusloki Gita, the 4 key verses of the Bhagavad Gita. And after Krishna explains about these 4 Chatuslokas to Arjuna, so Arjuna accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because it is natural when one comes to know about the opulence of the Lord, how great He is. So naturally we become humble, and that's actually lead to surrender to Krishna. And after Krishna praising and accepting Arjuna, after Arjuna praising and accepting Krishna as the Supreme Person, so Krishna will further explain about his vibhuti. And toward the end, of course, Krishna says that actually my opulence is unlimited. I'm just mentioning few. And then he will conclude the chapter by saying, Ekansina Sito Jagat. All this opulence, material manifestation, is just a fragmental spark of my energy. So actually, Krishna's opulence, Krishna's energy, Krishna's greatness, Krishna's glory is unlimited. We find even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Ananta says, he offered prayers to the Lord. He said that I have 1 million hoods. So naturally I have 1 million tongues. But even then also, I still desire more tongues because the glories of the Lord is unlimited. So if we see Lord Ananta says, pray like that to Krishna, then what is our ability? We have only 1 tongue, and that's also full of defect. How can we glorify Krishna to the fullest extent? So we'll discuss now. The Chatusloki. Text 8 to 11. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is stated in verses 8 to 11. All of Krishna's opulences are summarized in verse 8. By knowing Krishna's greatness, devotees develop love for him and engage in devotional service. Because their minds are fixed on Krishna, the devotees always relish discussion about Krishna and cannot maintain their lives without him. So this is text number 9. When Krishna sees the devotees' greatness, when Krishna sees the devotees' great eagerness to serve him, he reciprocates by enlightening them from within their hearts. This is verse 10 and 11. So these 4 verses is discussing about pure bhakti, is the essence of the Gita. So text number 8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhavasman. I am the source of all spiritual and material world. Yeah, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo. And then everything emanates from me. Mata sarvam pravartate. Actually, these 2 lines, they are actually the same. The wise should perfectly know this, engage in my devotional service, and worship me with all their hearts. Yeah. So Krishna is the source of everything. So if we see this verse, yeah, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Krishna is actually repeating the same thing in different way. When everything comes from me, Krishna says, that means Krishna is the source of everything. Yeah. So like the verse, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So it's actually almost the same thing. When you always remember Krishna, so there is no chance to forget him. When you never forget Krishna, that means you always remember Krishna. So when Krishna says Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, it's actually non-different from Mata Sarvam Pravartate. Yeah. So this verse, text number 8, is actually containing the 3 aspects of Sambandha Gyan, Abhidya Gyan, and Prayojana Gyan. Yeah. So Sambandha, if we analyze Sambandha Gyan, the first 2 lines is actually the Sambandha Gyan, because that actually teaches us our relationship with Krishna. Yeah. We come from Krishna. So naturally, we know our position, that Krishna is the source of all living entities, including us. Yeah. So this is our relationship with Krishna. He is the supreme and we are the servant. Aham sarvasya prabhu. We come from Krishna. And then Mata sarvam iti matva bhajante. Iti matva bhajante. Bhajante means to serve Krishna, engage in devotional service. Yeah. So that is the abhidya. Yeah, the process, bhakti. The process is abhidya, bhajanti. And then Buddha bhava samavita. Bhava means love. So that love is our prayojana, yeah, the goal. So these three aspects is contained all together in this very verse. Yeah. So abhidya tattva, sambandha tattva, abhidya tattva, and prayojana. This is Srila Prabhupada's purport. All Vedic literature agrees that Krishna is the source of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods. Prabhupada is establishing Krishna's supremacy here. One who understands Krishna in such a way from a bona fide spiritual master, with references from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man. In comparison to him, all others who do not know Krishna properly are but fools. Only a fool would consider Krishna to be an ordinary man. So here, another important aspect is that the importance, Prabhupada is explaining the importance of understanding Krishna through the mercy of the spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here that actually who is actually a learned person. Yeah, a devotee is a learned person. Dharma swanusita pungsam visvaksina kathasya. Vipade yadi ratim sama evaikeva. Some people seemingly to be practicing spiritual life, but if that practice is not bringing the rati, not utpadyade rati, means if that does not invoke the attraction toward the Lord, toward Krishna, then that's Rama Eva Hikeva. It's simply a waste of time. Yeah, there are so many paths, of course. People are following different paths, but if ultimately those paths doesn't do not lead a person to be engaged in Krishna consciousness, to accept Krishna as God, then whatever they do is actually simply a waste of time. Yeah. So that's the point of this verse. When a person knows Krishna's greatness, he will naturally surrender to him. So knowing Krishna's greatness leads to full surrender, and full surrender is followed by love, devotion. And then the next verse, Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Atayantas Chamam Nityam Tushyanticha Ramanticha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So this is the symptoms of pure devotees. They cannot live a moment without Krishna Katha, without glorifying, without hearing about Krishna. Prabhupada explained pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in transcendental loving service of Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on transcendental subject. This devotional service is just like a seed. And if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that seed fructifies, just as the seed of a tree fructifies, just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasure in association. Yeah, Prabhupada is giving this analogy, just like a young boy and young girl taking pleasure. So that's actually love means. When we cannot love without Krishna, just like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained, just like a fish without live without water. So that's actually the real test here. When we still think that I'm able to do something without Krishna, that means we are an illusion. Yeah. Although we have been practicing Krishna consciousness for many, many years, we have this mentality, we have this tendency, thinking that we can still be independent from Krishna in some way or other. Yeah. But here, the symptoms of a pure devotee is described. He cannot live a moment without Krishna Katha, without thinking about Krishna. Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindaya. He always think about Krishna's lotus feet. Yeah. Vacham Sivai Kunta Gunanu Varnani. He always glorified Krishna. Actually, this is a beautiful verse from the 9th canto, describing about the activity of Ambarish Maharaj. Yeah. And ultimately, Kamam Chadashe Natu Kama Kamyaya Yatu Tamasloka Janasraya Radhi. All his desires just to serve the Uttama Sloka, Krishna, who is actually praised by chosen verses. Yeah, Uttama Sloka. So his only desire is to serve Krishna. Nothing is separate from Krishna. He has this clear understanding. Yeah. Maya nanyena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti ye ridam makrite tyakta karmana tyakta swajana bandhana. So he will give up everything. When a person attached to Krishna, bhandena, in this verse, the word bhandana means the uh, the bondage to Krishna. Bhaktim kurvanti, bhaktim kurvanti. He will concern only about devotion to Krishna. Makrite tyakta karmanas. He will give up any other material engagement. Tyakta swajana bandhana. He will give up even his family members if that becomes his um, stumbling block in pursuing advancement in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Of course, many times Srila Prabhupada makes joke why he left his family, because when Prabhupada asked, so what you choose? What asked his wife, because one time Srila Prabhupada did really upset with his wife, because his wife, she's a devotee but not very strictly following the four regulations of drinking tea, coffee, this and that, eating biscuit, which is cooked by non-devotees. So one time Srila Prabhupada came home, he found his Srimad Bhagavatam was missing. And Srila Prabhupada was asking his wife, where is my Bhagavatam? She said that I sold it out. Prabhupada was happy that she sold it out. And then he asked, where is the money? She said, I used to purchase biscuit and tea. And Srila Prabhupada, many times he made a joke out of this. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, I left my wife because when I asked her, which one you choose me or you choose. So she cannot give up her tea, so I give her up. But of course, the real reason why Srila Prabhupada took sannyas, because over and over again, actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to his dream and asking him to take sannyas. And actually, he consulted to his senior god brother, His Holiness Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. Yeah. So asking him, what is this dream means? And Maharaj told him that, yes, Gurudev came to your dream. Actually, he comes personally asking you. So this is his instruction. Then Srila Prabhupada, at one point in the middle of night, he just left his family. Of course, we have to understand also clearly that taking sannyas is a very serious business, and one should not take sannyas because of troubles that you get in the Grihastha ashram. Srila Prabhupada makes this point very clearly. Purpose of a sannyas is that for detachment, for the higher purpose, so you can preach Krishna consciousness, not that you, because too much trouble in the Grihastha ashram, then you want to take sannyas, take a granted of it. I remember how Mahatma Prabhu, His Grace Mahatma Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, narrate a story that, well, he is a Grihastha up to now. Of course, he's a great devotee. Everybody loves him. He is very nice talker too. He's a very intelligent person. He's a Grihastha guru in our ISKCON society. So when he's a Grihastha, but he has desire to take sannyas. He has desire to take sannyas. So he wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada expressing his desire to take sannyas. And then Srila Prabhupada's servant would receive many letters, and then those who want to take sannyas, so put in the list. He wrote down their names and then he read out to Prabhupada. And then if Prabhupada approved, Prabhupada said, yes, he can take sannyas. Yes, he can take sannyas. And then when he heard the name of Mahatma Das, Prabhupada said to his servant, tell him he's a nonsense. Because Mahatma Prabhu, when he narrates this story, he clearly understands that Srila Prabhupada know what's going on in my mind, my heart, because those days, sannyas, even up to now in ISKCON, sannyas means you get to travel a lot for free, you get your own personal servant, and you get only the Raja Bhoga plate every single day whenever you visit a temple. You get close association with Srila Prabhupada, especially during the morning walk. Only the sannyas disciples get close. And then he said that yes, sometimes he fought here and there with his wife, so he want to avoid the trouble. So on the pretext of taking sannyas to preach all over the world, he wants to give up family life. But Prabhupada immediately said to his servant, tell Mahatma Das he's a nonsense. And it was silly of him, he said it was silly of him that, yes, I was a nonsense. He accepted the fact that it was a nonsense. Because Prabhupada knew what is going on. Yeah. And now, of course, he becomes a guru, and yeah, he was a great devotee, no doubt. But that's the principles. One should not take sannyas just because he got so much trouble in the Grihastha ashram, because in any ashram actually you will get problem anyway. You will get problem anyway. Yeah. But a pure devotee, of course, doesn't matter. In whichever ashram he may be, in whichever ashram he may be, you will be able to see Krishna in everything, and thus engages in devotional service. One time, Srila Prabhupada was comparing between a Mayavadi sannyas and Grihastha devotee. So Prabhupada said, even if we are situated in a Grihastha ashram, our mentality should be like a sannyas. Sannyas means to preach, to engage in Krishna service, and to preach Krishna consciousness. Even one time, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was telling Srila Prabhupada, I think this Guru Das, the husband of Yamuna Mataji, Prabhupada, I think Guru Das should wear a yellow robe. Prabhupada said, why? He's a Grihastha. Yes, Prabhupada, but he always go around and travel and preach Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, yes, he's a Grihastha, but he's even better than the sannyas. Yeah. So that is the mentality of a pure devotee. Always see Krishna and the opportunity to serve Krishna. Yeah. Cannot live a moment without Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, of course, mentioned in his purport the process of the chanting of the holy names, also very potent to develop our bhakti creeper. Yeah, just like how we grow a seed, Srila Prabhupada said. Yeah, this is confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mali hoy sei bija aropan. Sei bija aropan, just like a gardener plant a seed. So mali hoy sei bija aropan shravan kirtandole koroye se chan. So this process, shravanam and kirtanam, yeah, is actually just like watering of the seeds that will grow the bhakti tree. Yeah. And if you see this picture, I intentionally put this picture. So what happened when a seed, what happened when a seed just grow up? The first thing happened is that there are two leaves appear. There are two leaves appear when a seed just grow up. I heard once the explanation of His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj mentioned that just like we grow seeds, as soon as it grows, there are two leaves appear. So similarly, there are 6 symptoms of pure devotional service. As soon as a person starts engaging in devotional service, the first 2 symptoms immediately manifest. Yeah, Kleshagni and Subhada. All the miseries immediately terminated, and Subhada, all auspiciousness come. We experience this. As soon as we join, we feel like, up to some extent, that we feel so much bliss because everything becomes auspicious. Yeah, we avoid the for principles of sinful activities by following the four golden principles, that in itself actually very auspicious. Yeah. And all sufferings. This is the beauty of devotees' lives. Whenever a devotee get miseries, he will see that in connection to Krishna. He will see that this is Krishna's mercy. When I was a small kid, there was one devotee, he got accident and he broke his leg actually. He broke one of his legs. And then he said that, oh yeah, this is Krishna's mercy. I was wondering like, what? What are you talking about? This is Krishna's mercy? And he said, yes, this is Krishna's mercy. First of all, he took away the bad karmic reaction that I had. Secondly is that he gave me the chance to chant his name so loudly, spontaneously. So when he got this accident, he was chanting like, Hare Krishna, so loud. So that is Krishna's mercy. And he was not feeling sorry about that. So this is the beauty of devotee's life. Everything is Krishna's mercy. Even if a devotee gets miseries, apparently, that's actually Krishna's mercy. That misery is bringing him closer to Krishna. Yeah. So this is the first two symptoms. Immediately appear, manifest in the devotee's life as soon as he performs devotional service. That's like seeds grows immediately. You can see the two leaves, the first two leaves. Yeah, this is the Kleshagni and Subhadra. Okay, so this verse, bhakti, leads toward satisfaction. Yeah, Tushyanti means satisfaction. And Srila Vishnurata Chakravarti Thakur explained, actually, this satisfaction takes place in two levels, both in practice and also in perfection. Yeah, both in sadhana and also in sadhya. So these two things. Yeah, it is not that we are waiting to become a pure devotee, then we'll become happy. No, the process in itself is giving so much bliss. Yeah. So our Acharya gave commentary that when you practice bhakti, the happiness, the satisfaction, will take place while practicing it, and also when one day you will attain perfection. Yeah, both in sadhana and sadhya. Yeah, sadhya means perfection. Therefore, the principle of bhakti is actually endless. It's endless because that's actually giving us happiness. That's actually giving us satisfaction. It is not that as soon as you go back home, back to Godhead, no more service. The Mayavadi thought that as soon as he merged with Brahman, no more service. Yeah. But liberation for devotee means continued service. And text number 10. So this is how Krishna reciprocates with the pure devotees. Tesam satata yuktanam ajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Yeah. So bhakti is not one-sided thing. Krishna will always reciprocate with his devotees. Yeah. So here, this verse is explaining about Krishna gives intelligence to his devotees. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is a process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this. Therefore, the association of devotees and bona fide spiritual master are important. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain him. Yeah, devotees understand Krishna not simply by hearing, but also by Krishna's own revelation. Very beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada here. So I highlighted that part where Srila Prabhupada mentioned our progress is dependent on devotees' association and the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. Yeah. So first of all, we have to get uh, the association of devotees, yeah, through hearing, yeah, through hearing, and then guidance from senior devotees, spiritual master. So sometimes we think that we understand Krishna by our own effort, how much we read, how much we hear. Yeah, that's true actually. The more we hear, the more we read, the more we engage in service, that will help us to understand Krishna. But this understanding is also coming from Krishna himself. Yeah. Unless Krishna reveals himself, doesn't matter how much service we perform, we still may not be able to understand Krishna. Therefore, Krishna in the 7th chapter mentioned, Naham Prakasa Sarvasya. Very clearly he mentioned, Na Aham Sarvasya Prakas. I don't reveal myself to everybody. So Krishna chooses to whom and when he wants to reveal himself. Yeah. So that is the secret actually. If we are sincere, so Krishna will show the path. So this is called the Buddhi Yoga, Buddhi intelligence. Krishna gives the intelligence. Krishna showed the path. Yeah. Sometimes in the early days, I remember how Brahmananda Prabhu, yeah, he was telling that we just a few young boys and girls, we don't really know how to preach Krishna consciousness. And actually, Srila Prabhupada never told them to go out for Sankirtan, to perform the Nagar Kirtan outside the temple. So all this time they were having Kirtan only inside the temple, in the front store where they rent this, the 26 Second Avenue. And people just from outside seeing what is going on there, so much noise. And then one day Brahmananda Prabhu said that we feel, that we need some challenge. Let us chant outside. So they start chanting just in the front of the store, in the front of this of the temple that they have. And then later on they start walking, and then some people give donations. And he said that, wow, this is cool, And they just brought kind of little ball, and then just put in the front. So they're chanting and people throwing money, donation. And then he reported to Prabhupada. So we started our kirtan outside the temple. Sometimes we walk, and then people are giving a donation. And from this donation, we try to maintain our temple. And then Srila Prabhupada, he wrote back to him. He said that, yes, Krishna gives you intelligence. Krishna gives you the intelligence. So that's also happened in our lives, even in our lives when I remember, I just want to share something. I remember when I was in Cambodia in 2006. Yeah, in 2006. So there are only few devotees. There are 5 of us. There are 5 of us. So my friend, he said that, Prabhu, what do you think if we conduct Ratha Yatra festival? There is a New Year. There was a Cambodian New Year. They call it Khmer New Year. So just like the Chinese have their own New Year, the Cambodian also have their own New Year. Yeah. So my friend said, if we have Rath Yatra on this New Year, what do you think, Prabhu? I said, that's great, but New Year is just 2 weeks ahead, and we don't have Jagannath deities. How are we going to conduct this Rath Yatra? And without consulting with me, so he was printing a flyer inviting people for the event. I was like so upset with him, like I said, how dare you do this? How dare you do this? He said that, oh, I'm so excited. Yes, you're so excited. But, but first of all, we don't have deity. We don't have chariot. We don't have manpower. We don't have money. What are you going to do with this? I thought that, okay, we plan now next year, in the next New Year, we will do this. But he was like 2 weeks. He was announcing. He said that, oh, Prabhu, I already announced, and then whatever happened will happen. And we just took a log of wood, in our farm in Cambodia. We just took a log of wood. We have very small Jagannath deity in our altar. That's for worship. I said, I'm sorry, Jagannath, I'm taking you for a travel now. I took the Lord, and then we went to a carpenter. I asked a carpenter, of course, it's like karmi on the bodies. I asked a carpenter, you make from this big log of wood like this, deity like this. Of course, I didn't say deity, they don't understand what is deity, but I said, just make like this. I give you only 48 hours to do this. He was shocked, like, what, 48 hours? I said, yes, 48 hours, we'll pay you $150. It was exciting, $50 for each. And then he was doing that exactly 2 days. It was done. And then now, what about painting? Luckily, my wife, she's an artist. She knows how to paint. And then we just paint. And then there was one boy also, the devotee. I told him, we paint. And then, believe it or not, the deity was ready within 4 days. Within 4 days. And then now we made a dress. We made a turban. And then now everything is ready except the chariot. What to do with the chariot? So I went to the village. And then in the village, they're still very traditional. So they're still using this bullock cart. Yeah, they're still using bullock cart. And then I asked, there are two families. They have bullock carts. I asked, can I borrow your bullock cart? Can I borrow your cart? And I told that we are doing this festival. You are invited. There will be singing and dancing, and after that, a free food. He was like, okay, yes. And then, this bullock cart, we join them together. We tie with a rope. And then I purchased big umbrella, really big umbrella, to make it look like a dome. And then somehow or other, we decorate this bullock cart, and it becomes so beautiful, like a chariot. We get the long rope and the procession, like how we do, like we invite the Lord, we invoke the Lord to the deities, and we perform arati, broke the coconut and start the procession with a big kirtan. And of course, in Cambodia, there is a big Indian community, but they are not devotees. But Indian, they know the culture, they know about Rath Yatra. So I asked them for help. They help to cut the vegetables, this and that. And they're so excited. They're dancing in ecstasy. And everybody was dancing. And then we had the stage performance, and we had kirtan, prasadam. And after that, everything was over. Everything was over. We clean up everything. And then the next thing, we just sat down together. We're talking like, wow, Jagannath is so merciful. Jagannath is so merciful. And at one moment, we just kept silent. So 5 of us kept silent, and we just broke in tears. Everybody was crying because we feel so grateful. We feel so grateful. Like Krishna gives us all the facilities. Somehow or other, we collected money, really, from the Indian community. We collected money because we convinced them, come on, this is your culture. We want to do this. So yeah, we collected the money. Somehow people donating big bag of rice, some potatoes, some. It was like really touching everybody's heart. So this is how actually Krishna reciprocates. In the beginning, I was so upset with my friend. In 2 weeks' times, how dare you do this to me? I said that I'm quit from this temple. I'm going to Indonesia. I'm going back. I told him. He said, "Oh, Prabhu." But there was like, yeah, we sincere. If we sincere, like Krishna will show the path. So this is how Krishna reciprocates. When we perform bhakti, it is not one-sided thing. Krishna also reciprocates. And text number 11, Tesam evanu kampatam aham agyana jantamaha asayam yatma bhavasto jnana dipena. So jnana dipena, Krishna gives the torch of light to illuminate the darkness within the heart, to show them special mercy. I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So Krishna mercifully destroys ignorance. Prabhupada explained, man can go on speculating for several millions of years. If he is not a devotee, if he is not a lover of the Supreme Truth, he will never understand Krishna or the Supreme Truth. Only by devotional service is the Supreme Truth, Krishna, pleased. And by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of a pure devotee. Pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart and with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Yeah. So there are a few verses here from different sources like Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam that actually has the same connection to this verse. Yeah. How this analogy given by Srila Prabhupada, just like a sun, can, if you are interested, you can take a note of this verse here. I give you the reference. If you want to memorize it also, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah. So just like a sun, when Srila Prabhupada had a morning walk, as soon as he see the sun rising, he immediately would quote the verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Surya Samamaya Haya. So that's actually the vision of a pure devotee. This is called the Shastra Chakshu. Whatever you see, you immediately think about the verse from the scriptures. Yeah, Shastra Chakshu. So just like the sun illuminates the darkness, so Krishna also, who dwells within the heart, illuminates the darkness of ignorance and give us light, give us the knowledge. So this is the special mercy of Krishna. So Krishna gives his special mercy to a devotee who is sincere. Yeah. Yeah, so these 4 verses, they are the key verses of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Is situated right in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So by knowing these 4 verses, actually, a devotee would develop that love. We may think that we advance because of our own effort. So without Krishna's mercy, this is called Atmanikshepa. Yeah, one of the 6 symptoms of fully surrender, Atmanikshepa. We feel hopeless without Krishna. So we always depend on Krishna. Yeah, we always depend on Krishna for our advancement, Krishna consciousness. So this is the way how Krishna reciprocates. So the first of the Chatusloka explaining about Krishna as the source of everything. The second one is that the attitude of a pure devotee, he cannot live a moment without Krishna. The third and the fourth is how Krishna reciprocates to a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada in a lecture mentioned, so you have to know the technique. Simply by a theoretical knowledge, you cannot make any improvement. And these are practical examples. Because there is no love for God at the present moment, all this nonsense, universal love, fraternity, are going to hell. Therefore, we are interested in this Krishna consciousness movement. You have to change your consciousness, make it full with Krishna or God. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So this Krishna consciousness is not simply a theoretical knowledge, but there is pratyaksha. Therefore, Krishna mentioned in the beginning of the 9th chapter, pratyaksava gamam dharmyam yasukam. How we become happy is through practice. Through that practice, we experience. Pratyaksa means we see, we experience it. Like when we eat, we feel that we are being energized because we eat. So devotional service is also like that. We put it into practice, then we will experience the happiness. If we just tell people chant and be happy, chant and be happy. Yes, that's the principle. But unless that principle put into practice, applied into practice, then there will be no realization. We know the theory that by devotional service we'll become truly happy. But unless we practice it, we will not be happy. So that's about the Chatusloka Gita. Before we continue to Krishna, now he will, to Arjun will accept Krishna as the Supreme Person. Whether any question? If there is no question, shall continue. So now here, text 12 to 18. So Arjuna's acceptance and requests. What he requests? He requests Krishna to show his further obedience. So after hearing the essential 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna became completely free from all doubts and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He then expressed his eagerness to hear Krishna's glories, so he could always think of him. So here, the famous verse, Arjuna Vacha, text 12 and 13. Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusam Saswatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahoswam Rishaya Sarve Devarsir Naradastata Asito Deval Vyasa Swayam Eva Swayam Chaiva Brahvish. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Param Brahma. We are all Brahman. Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. But Krishna is the Param Brahma. He is the Supreme Brahman. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa, confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. So here's the thing. When Arjuna accepted Krishna as a Supreme Person, it is not that he is accepting it because Krishna is his friend. Some people think like that. He can say whatever he wants because Krishna is his friend, Krishna is his cousin. He just want to please Krishna. Well, no, that's not the reason. Arjuna accepted it on the base of what the previous acharyas, what is the statement of the great authorities about Krishna. All the great sages, said this. So this is called the parampara, following the footsteps of great personalities. Yeah, Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. Prahlad Maharaj said that we have to follow the footsteps of the Mahajans. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada explained, the Supreme is different from the individual soul. He at once boldly declares, you are Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of God. Here Arjuna expressed himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should accept the statement in these two verses. This is called the Parampara system, acceptance of the disciplic succession. Unless one is in the disciplic succession, we cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. So this is Krishna's supremacy. It's confirmed by authorities. Yeah? And in many places, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that we have to follow the footsteps of Arjuna. Yeah? In the introduction to the Gita, yeah, Srila Prabhupada mentioned what should be the outcome of studying the Gita. Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse, Param Brahma Param Dhamma verse. Srila Prabhupada explained, just like Arjuna, after hearing the Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, he accepted Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that should be the outcome of studying the Bhagavad Gita. That should be our aim, our goal. Yeah. After studying the Bhagavad Gita, we have to accept Krishna as God and we have to surrender to Him. Yeah. Because many people love to study philosophy, including Bhagavad Gita, just for collecting information. Of course, nothing wrong with collecting information, but as devotees, our purpose of studying the Gita is not simply to collect the information. Yeah. Not simply to collect the information, but to develop love for Krishna, to accept truly Krishna as the Supreme Person. Yeah. So Krishna's authority is confirmed here by Arjuna, by all the great sages. If we see also the statement of many great personalities, great demigods, they approve this. Like in Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma explained that he's, Govindamadi Purusham, he's the Adi Purusha. Ishwara Parama Krishna, clearly Brahma mentioned Krishna. Ishwara Parama Krishna, he's the Param Ishwara. Aradhadanam Sarvisham Vishnur Aradhanam Param. Shiva said Bhagavad. Yeah. Of all types of all objects of worship, Vishnu is the topmost. So Krishna's supremacy is confirmed here in this verse. And Arjuna continued, text 14, O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. So Arjuna herein confirms that persons of faithless and demonic nature cannot understand Krishna. One should therefore follow the path of Arjuna. He receives the authority of Bhagavad Gita. The acceptance by Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And then only can we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. Okay, this is very clear. Of course, Arjuna accepted Krishna. And then why Arjuna later he will ask Krishna to prove that he is God by showing his opulence. So others will believe. Yeah. Others will believe. So here, understanding Krishna is not easy. One can understand him through a bona fide disciplic succession. And Arjuna continued, indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of all, Lord of the universe. Prabhupada explained the Supreme Lord Krishna can be known by person who are in relationship with him through the discharge of devotional service, like Arjuna and his followers. Thus, the truth about Krishna is established in this verse by realization of Arjuna, and we should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. So if we see the previous purpose, Prabhupada also mentioning that we should follow the footsteps of Arjuna. Yeah. And here again, Prabhupada emphasized the same point, following the footsteps of Arjuna. Now Arjuna mentioned, please tell me in details of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these words. These worlds. In this verse, it appears that Arjuna is already satisfied with his understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So Arjuna is asking Krishna how he exists in his all-pervading aspect through his different energies. One should know that this is being asked by Arjuna on behalf of the common people. Yeah? Because the common people will say that, yes, as I mentioned earlier, Arjuna accepted Krishna to be God because they are friends, because they are relatives. Yeah. So Arjuna wants to make it clear that actually it is not that I said that he is God, but he can prove himself how he is God. Text 17 and 18. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of God? Actually, the 11th chapter will support this point. Yeah. Because in this chapter, Krishna just tells, because Arjuna is asking here, how shall I know you? How shall I constantly think about you? So later, Krishna will tell Arjuna, yeah, how to remember Krishna through different things. By seeing different things, yeah, we get connected to Krishna. And in the 11th chapter, Krishna will explain, Krishna will prove it. Yeah, Krishna will prove it that how he is God. Prabhupada explained, common man, including the demons and the face, cannot know Krishna because he is guarded by his Yogamaya energy. Again, these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. The supreme devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for understanding of all mankind. Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is Vaishnava, the devotee is opening for the common man the understanding of the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. Text 18. O Janardhan, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satisfied in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for his reason only, it is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnation of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated readings. Yeah. Krishna is known as the Navayovana. He is ever fresh. Yeah. He is ever fresh. So Arjuna wanted to hear again and again Krishna's glories. Yeah. Because that's actually through hearing we develop natural attachment to Krishna. Yeah, naturally we becomes attached to what we constantly hear. And in text 17, Srila Prabhupada nicely explained how actually a spirit devotee or a pure devotee is actually not selfish, not concerning only about himself, but he thinks of others. Yeah? Prahlad Maharaj said, Prayana deva munaya swavimuktika ma maunam charanti vijane na pararthanista naiva kripanas vimumuksa eko na anyat tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashti. So Prahlad Maharaj said that Maunam charanti vijane na pararthanista. There are so many great souls, but actually they are concerning about themselves, their own self, their own liberation. Therefore, they go to a secluded place and perform a Mauna Vrata. They just do their own bhajan. Yeah. Maunam charanti vijane na pararthanis. Na pararthanisa. They don't concern about the suffering of other jivas. Naitan vihaya vimumuksa eko. Kripanan vimumuksa eko. Prahlad Maharaj said vimumuksa eka. But as far as I'm concerned, na vimumuksa eka. I'm not concerning simply about my own liberation. Alone, eka means one. My own liberation. But I want all these kripana, all these fools and rascals also liberated. And how they become liberated? Na anyat asya sharanam brahmato nupachi. Unless they surrender unto you, O Lord, they cannot be liberated. Prahlad Maharaj said, therefore I preach Krishna consciousness for their benefit. I don't want my own liberation. I want also all others to be liberated. So this is the mood of a pure devotee. Actually, Srila Prabhupada explained that one's advancement in Krishna consciousness is seen by how much compassion he developed within his heart. So that compassion develops automatically as one advances in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Because one no longer selfish. Yeah, one no longer selfish, thinking about one's own self. So not only us should become Susukam Katum Avyayam, but we want others also to become happy. Yeah. And then from text 19 to 42, Krishna's opulences. In response to Arjuna's request, Krishna described the most prominent amongst his limitless, all-pervading opulences. Krishna lists various objects or groups of living entities and states that he is their essence or the chief members of each group. After naming 82 opulences, Krishna summarizes by explaining that this opulences simply indicates his glory, for he pervades and supports the entire universe with a mere fragment of this total potency. Okay. So now Krishna responds to Arjuna's request. Text number 19. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent. O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. It is not possible to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulences. The senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Still, the devotee tried to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully. Krishna knows that living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only principal manifestation of his different energies. See? Clearly, Srila Prabhupada mentions here, even the devotee can understand Krishna's opulence only up to some extent, cannot understand Krishna fully. Yeah, Vedaham Samatitani Vartamanani Charjuna Bhavishyani Chabhutani Mam tu Vedanas. Krishna says, Mam tu Vedana Kashan. No one knows me in full. Yeah. Nobody can understand Krishna in full because he is unlimited. He is unlimited. So now from text 20, text 20 to 39, Lord Krishna is describing his opulences to Arjuna. So there are 82 things that mentioned by Krishna. So I recommend you to read in your own timing, yeah, 22 to 39, because Krishna just keep mentioning amongst this, I'm this, amongst this, I'm that. You know. So in this way, actually, we can see Krishna in everything. Because Arjuna, remember, Arjuna is asking Krishna, how shall I constantly remember you? So just like flowers, same flowers, the devotee will immediately think, oh, such a beautiful flower. If I pluck this flower and offer it to Krishna, these flowers will become perfect. So that is the devotee's vision. But non-devotee would like to pluck it and enjoy it themselves. Yeah? If you see sun, you will remember Krishna. If you see water, you remember Krishna. If you see mountain, you will remember Krishna. Yeah? Krishna says, as among the mountain, I am Himalaya. Amongst all the archer, Krishna says, I'm Arjun. Krishna will mention everything, and amongst all those stuff, Krishna is the main principle. Yeah. So in this way, we can remember Krishna. That's how he pervades in everything. That's how we remember Krishna. Yeah. So please read that in your own timing. Srila Prabhupada gave very brief purport to all these verses. And now text 40. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end of my divine manifestation. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulence. So imagine 82 things that Krishna mentioned. Yeah, that's for us actually good enough, good sum, you know. But Krishna says it's just a mere indication of his opulences. Yeah. Prabhupada says, as said in the Vedic literature, although the opulences and energies of the Supreme are understood in various ways, there's no limit to such opulences. Therefore, not all the opulences and energies can be explained. Simply a few examples are being described to Arjuna to pacify his inquisitiveness. Yeah. Don't think that Krishna cannot list all his opulences. He can, but he just worried that our head will be exploded. Our head, our tiny brain, yeah, will say, enough, Krishna, enough. Yeah. Text 41. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creation springs from but a spark of my splendor. Yeah. Any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it be in the spiritual or material world. Anything extraordinarily opulent should be considered to be represent Krishna's opulence. Yeah. So everything opulent is Krishna. Everything beautiful is Krishna. Yeah. Of course, sometimes Srila Prabhupada plays some joke to his disciples. One time in the morning walk here in Mayapur, so Srila Prabhupada had a morning walk with his disciples. And then there was a Bengali lady, just crossed by. And then Srila Prabhupada says to his disciple, the Bengali lady They have very long, wavy, black, thick, beautiful hair. Srila Prabhupada said. And then Srila Prabhupada repeated again. The Bengali lady has very long, wavy, black, thick hair. And then one of his disciples said, yes, Prabhupada, Krishna has this black, long, wavy, beautiful, thick hair. And Prabhupada said, I don't talk about Krishna. I'm talking about the Bengali lady because his disciple is always afraid, it's Srila Prabhupada say something, and then if they confirm, Prabhupada may say, you fool, that's only belong to Krishna. So when his disciple tried to be clever in the front of Srila Prabhupada just smashed it. One time in the USA, Srila Prabhupada had a morning walk also. So he had the morning walk, and then he stopped in the front of a very big, beautiful mansion, big house, beautiful. And Srila Prabhupada stopped and pointed using his cane to his house, and he said that one day uh, we will have a big, beautiful palace like this for Krishna. And then all his disciples said, Jai Srila Prabhupada. And then they walk. And then Prabhupada stopped again. All of them stopped in the front of big house, beautiful house, and really beautiful car. Beautiful car. And Prabhupada pointed at the car using his cane. And Prabhupada said, one day we will have a beautiful car like this for Krishna. And all his disciples said, Jai Srila Prabhupada. And then they walk again. And then Prabhupada stopped in the front of a house which is guarded by a dog, really big dog, looks like really furious, and this dog was barking. But this dog was tied up by a rope. And then Prabhupada pointed his cane to the dog, and Prabhupada said, one day we will have a big dog like this for Krishna. And this disciple said, Jai Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, you fools, why would Krishna need a dog like this? So that's how Srila Prabhupada just sometimes play with his disciple. When you try to become clever, Srila Prabhupada just smash you. But when you really fool, Prabhupada just says, you fool, why would Krishna need such kind of a dog? We don't need a dog. Yeah. So whatever beautiful, whatever great is actually Krishna. It's coming from Krishna. That is the principle. And the last verse of the chapter, finally Krishna says, Atha va bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna visabhyaham idam krishnam ekam sena stito jagat. But what need is there, Arjun, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. The Lord here tells Arjuna that there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence and grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as super soul. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana, a great acharya and disciplic succession from Krishna, concludes his commentary on this chapter by saying, from Lord Krishna's potent energy, even the powerful sun gets its power. And by Krishna's partial expansion of the whole world is maintained. The whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna is worshipable. So this is the statement of Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana, quoted by Srila Prabhupada in his purport. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one should always meditate upon him, enjoy one's transcendental relationship with him. He is the Supreme Existence. That's Srila Prabhupada. So that's the end of the chapter and Srila Prabhupada's purport. So just to conclude about this chapter, that actually in the beginning, Krishna explained about his opulence by mentioning he is the source of all personalities, he is the source of everything. Yeah. And then after he explained the Chatusloki of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna accepted Krishna as a supreme person and requested him to further explain about his opulence. And when Krishna explained about his opulence, he just said, it's just a small fraction of my energy. So we have to understand that Krishna's glories, Krishna's opulence is unlimited. Yeah? And to understand that fully is impossible. But up to some extent, the devotee can understand Krishna by devotional service. Therefore, this opulence actually meant for the devotees outside Vrindavan. Yeah. In Vrindavan, Krishna shows unlimited opulence, glories, great activities. Yet the residents of Vrindavan never think that he's God, because they are the Ragatmika Bhaktas. Yeah? That raga, that attachment is born along with them. They don't need some training to love Krishna. So they have this natural love for Krishna. It's already there, deep rooted in their heart. So this opulence is meant for those devotees outside Vrindavan. Because when a devotee outside Vrindavan, the more they hear about Krishna's glories, so their love will develop. Yeah. But the residents of Vrindavan, it doesn't affect them because they already have so much love. Yeah. So the next chapter, chapter 11, will be proving more how Krishna is God. Yeah. So up to this point, we still have like 45 minutes more or less, but I will not continue because I have early appointment today. I apologize for that, and I feel my throat is a little bit hoarse. Before I start the class, whether any question or comment about the 10th chapter? Otherwise, we can continue with other services. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, is that the devotee from Bangalore still here in Mayapur?
Not sure, Prabhu. I think you're probably referring to Deepa Mataji. They have gone as a group to Mayapur.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, I'm just thinking if we can meet, have some talk.
I will message if they're still there. I can request them to meet with you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you so much, all the devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing the Jagannath pastime. It was so wonderful to hear Jagannath manifesting there. Thank you so much.
It's all Jagannath's mercy.
Yes. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ruji.